Tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings from the garden at the Mara Seminary here in Auckland where I live. Of course, on lockdown like all of us, and I just wanted to have a bit of a change of scenery since last Sunday and read the Gospel from our garden. Some beautiful trees here, we're so lucky. So I hope you're doing all okay. Anyway, here's the reading from St. John's Gospel. The sisters, Martha and Mary, sent this message to Jesus. Lord, the man you love is ill. On receiving the message, Jesus said, this sickness will not end in death, but in God's glory, and through it, the Son of God will be glorified. Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. Yet, when he learned that Lazarus was ill, he stayed where he was for 2 more days before saying to the disciples, let us go to Judea. On arriving, Jesus found that Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days already. When Martha heard that Jesus had come, she went to meet him. Mary remained sitting in the house. Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now, whatever you ask of God, he will grant you. Your brother, said Jesus to her, will rise again. Martha said, I know he will rise again at the resurrection on the last day. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. If anyone believes in me, even though he dies, he will live. And whoever lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she said. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, the one who was to come into this world. Jesus said in great distress, with a sigh that came straight from the heart, where have you put him? They said, see how much he loved him. But there were some who remarked, he opened the eyes of the blind man. Could he not have prevented this man's death? Still sighing, Jesus reached the tomb. It was a cave with a stone to close the opening. And Jesus said, take the stone away. Martha said to him, Lord, by now he will smell. This is the 4th day. Jesus replied, have I not told you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. Then Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you for hearing my prayer. I knew indeed that you always hear me. But I speak for the sake of all these who stand round me, so that they may believe it was you who sent me. When he had said this, he cried in a loud voice, Lazarus, here, come out. The dead man came out, his feet and hands bound with bands of stuff and a cloth round his face. Jesus said to them, unbind him, let him go free. Many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary and had seen what he did believed in him. Very powerful words, aren't they? And I hope you could hear all the lovely natural sounds around me here. Just behind me we have a lovely park, so we have the opportunity of walking in the park as well. And I think this time of lockdown, it's important to focus on things that can uplift us. You know, the beauty of the garden, maybe the pot plants if you've got any of those, getting your hands in the soil, walking through the park, looking at the trees, the colours of the leaves at this time, the change of season with autumn. All those kinds of things can uplift us. And we're very lucky, you know, there's 8 of us here in our little bubble, and we can, you know, talk with each other and share meals together. We try and keep that little bit of a distance from one another. So, you know, being aware of each other, wanting to support each other, those kinds of things too are really important. So I do hope that you have people around you that are supporting you at this time. But just a few words on the gospel itself. So it's the Sunday gospel for the 5th week of Lent that I've just read to you. And we heard the sisters and friends of Jesus, Martha and Mary, sent a message to him, informing him about their brother Lazarus, that the man you love is ill. How relevant is that for these days? Many of our brothers and sisters throughout the world and in our own country are ill, and in faith we know that each of us is deeply loved by God. We too can send a message to Jesus in prayer, asking him to come and be with us. I am sure you have been doing that already. We need his presence and comfort. Jesus may not respond instantly or in the way we would expect, as we heard in the reading, but he does come and he does respond. I am always deeply moved by Christ's response in seeing Mary's tears mourning the death of her brother. He displays great distress with a sigh that comes straight from the heart, and he weeps for his friend. I believe Christ is weeping for all those families who have lost loved ones in various places throughout the world. He weeps with us in our sorrows and distress. Christ, becoming one of us, understands and identifies with us in our human condition. He did not shy away from it, and he asks us to do the same. I know all this is not easy for us to understand, and we can question why all this is happening in the first place. The two said, he opened the eyes of the blind man. Could he not have prevented this man's death? So in the silence of our hearts, we can humbly place before Christ the questions and the fears we have. And it's okay to be upfront and real with him. Christ declares that he is the resurrection and the life, and demonstrates that by raising Lazarus from the dead. As Christians, we believe that this earthly life we live is not the end of the story, and that one day we will be united with him in heaven. We know too that even in this life we experience and choose things that can cause us to die inside. We need the life that Jesus offers us to restore us and set us free. Whoever lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? Jesus directs the same question to us as he did to Mary. Perhaps we can pray for the gift today to hear him cry out to those areas in our life that we have shut away out of sight behind a big stone. Those things we don't want to face. Those things we hold on to and think we need for our security and happiness. Those hurts we can't forgive. Those bands of stuff and cloth constricting us and holding us back. None of us want our freedoms to be curtailed, but perhaps these weeks of lockdown will help us to discover who and what really matters. And that's a great freedom to have. So given our present experience, one that so many of our brothers and sisters are experiencing throughout the world. I thought, My Heart Embraces the World from Ignatian Inspiration would be appropriate for us to reflect on as we hold each other in prayer and in love. Now, these words are actually the words of Saint Therese Couder. She founded the Cenacle Sisters, and I'd like to share it with you now. So my heart embraces the world and the goodness of all things. So let's embrace one another. Let's embrace all those who are needing support, those who are struggling to survive because of this illness. And let's pray too for all the health professionals, for their self-sacrifice in caring for those who are sick. Introduction to the song. So it introduces the melody for